Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Guru Kripa Vina Nahi Koi Sadhan Bal. Bhajamana Vajanukshan. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Milita nahi aisa durlabha janama. Pramatahu chaudo khabuan. किसी को मिलते हैं अहो भाग्य से हरि भक्तों के दर्शन गुरु चरण कमल भजमन Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Krishna Kripa Ki Ananda Murti. Dina Jana Karuna Nidan. Bhakti Bhava Prema Tine Prakashata. Shri Guru Patita Pavan. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Shruti Smriti Aur Punamanamahi. He knows Pashta Praman. Tanamana Jivana Guru Pade Arpana. Shri Hari Namaratan. Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Jayo Guru Deva, Jayo Guru Deva, Guru Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada. Worship the lotus feet of Shri Guru, O mind. Without Guru's mercy, we have no strength in our sadhana. O mind, worship Guru, worship him at every moment. This rare human birth is not often found as we scored the 14 planes of existence. A chance few, by astounding good fortune, get to glimpse a devotee of Shri Hari. He is the blissful embodiment of Krishna's mercy and the reservoir of compassion for the destitute. Manifesting bhakti, bhav, and prem, Shri Guru is the savior of the fallen. All the Shrutis, Smritis, and Puranas describe Shri Guru's glories. There is clear evidence of this. Offering my body, mind, and very life at the feet of Gurudev, I incessantly sing Shri Harinam. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Four. Ebaro karuna koro Vaishnava Goshai Ebaro karuna koro Vaishnava Patita pavana toma Bini ke honai Patita pavana toma Kaharani kate gile Papa dure jai Emonado ya Prabhu que pakota pai. Gangara parase koile paschate pavan. Darshane pavitra koro e tomara gun. Darshane pavitra e tomara. Haristane aparade Tare Harina Thomas Dane aparade nakikeda. Thomas Dane. Toma hridoye sada Govinda Vishram. Govinda kahe namama Vaishnava para. O Vaishnava Goshai, be merciful to me now. You are the servant of the fallen souls. Except for you, there is no one who can deliver me. Where can one find such a merciful personality by whose mere proximity one's sins go far away? Only after touching the Ganga does one become purified, but simply by seeing you, one is purified. This is your great quality. Offenses committed at the lotus feet of Shri Hari are absolved by Harinam, but for offenses against you, there is absolutely no means of deliverance. Shri Govinda is always resting in your heart. Govinda says, the Vaishnavas are my life and soul. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Prabhu He, Prabhu He, Prabhu He, Jai Jai Prabhu He. Shri Vaishnava Thakur ki Jai.
68. Jari goranga nahi to, tabi ke hoi to, kome ni dori to de. Jari goranga nahi to. Actually, DK, you said it. Tabi ke hoi to, kemone dori to de. Radha Mahima Prema Rasa Simha Jagate Janato Ke Radha Mahima Prema Rasa Simha Jagate Janato Ke Radha Mahima Prema Rasa Simha Jagate Jana. Vipina Madhuri Vipina Madhuri Pravesha Chaturi Sara Pravesha Chaturi Sara Parajayuvati Pavera Bhakati Parajayuvati Pavera Bhakati Sakati Hoito Kara Sakati Hoito Kara Gao Puna Puna Gorange Raguna Guna Guna Gao Puna Puna Gorange Raguna Sarala Hoya Mana Sarala Hoya Mana E Bhava Sagare E Mana Doya E Mana Dogare E Mana Doya Nadhe ki je jana jana Nadhe ki je jana Koranga bolia nagenu galia Kemona dorinu de Goranga bolia nagenu bolia Kemone dorinu de Narahariya Pasana diya Narahariya Pasana Narahariya Pasana diya Pasana diya Kemone goriya che Komene goriya che Chari goranga nahi to tabike hoi to komone dori to re Chari goranga nahi to tabike hoi to dori to re Radha Mahima Prema Rasa Simha Radha Mahima Prema Rasa Simha Jagate Janato Ke Jagate Janatoke Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaurari Sachinandan Jaya Gaurari Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaurari Sachinandan Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaura Haribo. If Sri Gauranga had not appeared, then what would have become of us? How would we have survived? Who could have taught the world about the glories of Srimati Radharani and the topmost limit of Prem Ras? Who would have had true insight to enter the sweet rapture of the forest of Vrindadevi and the power to render loving service in the mood of the damsels of Braj? With a simple heart, always sing about Gauranga's glorious qualities. I cannot see even one person as compassionate as he is in this ocean of material existence. Even though I chant Gauranga, my heart has not melted. How do I continue to maintain this body? How has Narahari been created with a stone in place of a heart? Shri Gauranga ki jai. Okay, so short time off. So we should do Hare Krishna bhajan. Can we do Chintamani? Hare Krishna. 116. Can you give me blue? Chintamani moy Radha Kunda tata Tahe kunja sata sata Chintamani moy Radha Kunda tata Tahe kunja sata sata Chintamani moy Radha Kunda tata Tahe kunja sata sata Chani moy Radha Kunda tata Tahe kunja sata sata Prabhala Viju Maya Tarulata Prabhala Viju Maya Tarulata Mukta Fale Abhanata Mukta Fale Abhanata Swananda Sukara Kunja Manohara Tahate Kutira Sobe Tahate Kutira Sobe Vasya Tata Gabo Krishna Nam Kabe Krishna Dasya Lobe Kabe Krishna Dasya Lobe Chintamani moy Radha Kunda tata Tahe kunja sata sata Chintamani moy Radha Kunda tata Tahe kunja sata sata Emona samai morali agan Pasibo eda sikane Emona samai morali agan Pasibo eda sikane Anandamativo sakala bujivo. Shri Krishna Vam Siragana, Shri Krishna Vam Siragana, Chintamani Moy Radha Kunda Tata, Tai Kunja Sata Sata, Radha Kunda Tata, Kunda Sata. Radhe Radhe Boli Moraliya Dakive Maria Ishwari Nama Maria Ishwari Nama Radhe 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 Boli Muraliya Dakive Maria Ishwari Nama Radhe Radhe Boli Muraliya Kive Maria Ishwari Nama Suniya Chamaki Ute Boe Dasi Ute Boe Dasi Kemone Koribe Prana Kemone Koribe Prana Chintamani Moy Radha Kunda Tata Tahe Kunja Sata Sata Chintamani Moy Radha Kunda Tata Kunja Sata Sata Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Onita Goda Haribo, 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 Nita Goda Haribo. The banks of Sri Radha Kunda are made of transcendental desire-fulfilling gems. Nearby there are hundreds and hundreds of beautiful kunjas. The trees and creepers, which are made of coral, are weighty with an abundance of pearl fruits. A small cottage is beautifully situated within the enchanting grove known as Swananda Sukada Kunja. Oh, when shall I sit there and sing the holy names of Sri Krishna with the desire to attain his service? At that time, the song of the transcendental flute will enter this maidservant's ear. I shall become overwhelmed with ecstasy and forget everything, due to the song of Sri Krishna's flute. Saying, Radhe, Radhe, the flute will call the name of my worshipful mistress. Hearing that sound, this maidservant will jump up, startled and astonished, wondering how she shall live. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai.
Jnanam timirandasya Jnananjana salakaya Chaksuranmilitam yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Todalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadavaktaya Namo Namah Yang Pravrajantam Manupetamapetakrityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruajuhava Putre Tanmayataya Taruvo Banedos Tang Sarvabhutaridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vihinay Aparadalakshay Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadye Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapadyam Brinde Namaste Charanaravindam Tavaivasmi Najivami Tambina Te Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Charanantike Kripayati Adi Radha Padita Sheshabadha Kimaparavishishtam Pushti Marya Dayorme Yadi vadati cha kinchit smeraha sodita shir Dvija varamani panktya mukti shuktya tadakim Shama sundara shikanda shekar Smeraha samurali manohara Radhika rasikamam kripanite Swapriya charana kinkari kuru Prananata vrishabhanu nandini Srimakabjara salola satapada Radhika padatale kritastiti Tambajami rasikandra shekhar Samvedaya dashane trinam vibho Partaye brajamahendra nandana Astu mohantavati ballabha Janma janmani madi svari priya. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to our grandfather gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates, and to all our assembled devotees, and to the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus, who are my Shiksha Gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Madhav Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Ban Maharaj, and Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. Today, you know, is a very auspicious day. It's the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj's glorious Diksha Gurus, Shri Srimad Bhakti Dvait Madhav Goswami Maharaj, and the disappearance days of Sri Rasakananda Prabhu and Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. So first I'm calling on Haridas Prabhu, who will speak an atom of the glories of Srila Bhakti Dvait Madhav Goswami Maharaj. And he'll take a nice seat.
I'm gonna put the top on it. Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramilitam Yena Tasmaya Shugurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Goda Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Vana Iti Namane Vandeham Bhakchikoram Gaurangani Juprashtitam Srimate Bhaktivedanta Sumivaram Namastubhyam Shri Radha Ekanishtitam Rasayana Katam Nitam Sankirtanam Anandadam Gosamanam Varanamaha. Could one of you turn the camera? I offer my obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Guru, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Van Goswamiraj, to my Shiksha Guru, Pujaniya Srimati Shamarani Didi, to my Param Guru, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswamiraj Ki, to all of my Param Gurus, especially to Shri Srimad Bhakti Vidyampartika Samaraj today on the disappearance day of his most beloved Shri Srimad Bhakti Doyat Madhav Samaraj, his guru. And so, one thing that Srila Maharaj talks about, I'm going to mostly speak about his life from this book, Volcanic Energy, which is as he says in the opening, is actually just a small compilation. They were hoping to do a much longer one. So this is from the life of Srila Bhakti Doyat Madhav Samaraj. And I'll cover why it's called, he said he has volcanic energy in it. One of the things that I appreciate, there's a few things that I appreciate from what Srila Maharaj says in the introduction. He says that any person, he says that any person can benefit from this book, even if Srila Bhakti Doyat Madhav Maharaj isn't necessarily his guru or his direct, in his direct guru parampara, because by, let's see if I can find all sincere devotees will certainly be inspired to eagerly traverse the path leading to pure bhakti. Although externally, so he shares with us also that one guru is not different from another. If they're a true bona fide guru, a pure acharya, then we can have with the same benefit as our own guru. The precepts of one pure acharya may appear different from those of another pure acharya, as may the methods through which they express those precepts in their conduct. They are, in fact, non-different and completely harmonious. He says this publication is not beneficial only for the disciples and grand disciples of Srila Bhakti Doyat Madhav Samaraj, but for all devotees who sincerely desire to understand and implement in their life the finer points of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, which, fun fact, I was reading the introduction to Manashiksha the other day, that one who, I don't have, let me actually grab the direct quote from it, because it's amazing, and you'll all be really happy to hear this, is that, one moment, scrolling back, very close to it, okay, nope, here we go, that by following the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he gave to the jivas of this world, a strong yearning to pursue the path of Raganuga will suddenly awaken. So we just heard from Srila Maharaj that all devotees who sincerely desire to understand and implement, that this publication is beneficial for all devotees who sincerely desire to understand and implement in their life the finer points of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. And we hear in the intro to Manashiksha is that by following the instructions that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to the jivas of this world, a strong yearning to pursue the path of Raganuga will suddenly awaken in the sadhaka's heart. So as Vaidhi Bhakti is pursuing the path of Rag Marg, it's really amazing for us to then be able to have this benefit to understand and implement the finer points of Lord Chaitanya's mission, teachings.
How do Vaidhi Bhaktas pursue the path of Rag Marg?
Under the guidance of a pure sadhu.
No, but if he's a Vaidhi Bhakta, how is he pursuing Rag Marg? I didn't understand the sentence.
It is certainly my own misunderstanding. I was thinking that Raganuga Bhakti is available, Rag Marg is available by the Bhakta who performs the limbs of Vaidhi Bhakti with the aim for Raganuga.
Aim. That's the direction.
And so
he wants that, and so he studies the same books, he does the same prayers, but he's not on Rag Marg until the genuine greed comes, and then he becomes mad.
And so what Manashiksha, the intro to Manashiksha is saying is that by following the instructions of Lord Chaitanya, then that Raganuga, that desire for Raganuga Bhakti automatically awakens in our heart. And what we're hearing is that by this publication is for those who desire to understand and implement those teachings in their life. So presumably we all, as what we've been heard from Srila Gurudev is that Rag Marg, Raghunuga Bhakti is what we want. So it's really great that we have this. And so the other thing that I appreciate from this, of the many things I appreciate from this introduction, but I thought was essential for us to know, is that one can understand a Vaishnav by their Vaishnavata. So,
What's that?
by his Vaishnav qualities, by the way he acts like a Vaishnav. I'm actually remembering something different. I think that's actually later in the book. Sorry. So, I'm going to read just a few. I may also suddenly get a call in the middle of this. I'm waiting a call with Manjari, and she's just going to call me when she's available. So please forgive me if I'm suddenly getting up in the middle of a conversation. So there's a lot of one thing that I actually want to remember from when I was speaking on Srila Bhakti Sharang Goswami Maharaj is, even though I was speaking as though these were like ordinary activities of oh yeah, I could do things like that, that it's essential for me to remember that these activities, although they externally appear like normal human activities, the moods behind it are much deeper. When they're collecting money, they're not in any way looking at it materially. When they're engaging with their god siblings, it's not in any way material. It is purely from the viewpoint of pure Gyan Chakshu, or eyes of knowledge, also known as Shastra Chakshu. So they're seeing purely with pure eyes, as though seeing directly from the eyes of Scripture. So I'll start with why he is called volcanic energy. And so throughout this book, because it's written by Srila Bhakti Doyat Madhav Goswami Maharaj, because it's written by Srila Bhakti Vigam Bharati Goswami Maharaj, he often refers to him as Guru Maharaj. So once when Guru Maharaj had returned to Sri Dham Mayapur on Krishna Janmashtami after completing a preaching tour with his senior godbrother, Shri Srimad Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, that's Srila Bhakti Santa Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, saw him and immediately said, "It is very good you have come. Now please proceed to Mathura without delay. Rajmandala Parikrama is just around the corner. You should go there, meet with the local pandas, and discuss with them about scouring locations for the camps and all the details related to providing the pilgrims with suitable arrangements for food,
Slower.
providing the suitable arrangements for food, water, and so on." So following Srila
You have a
Prabhupada,
meeting soon, so you're in a hurry to say as much as you can.
Yeah.
But better to say less clearly, so we get it.
Okay. So following Srila Prabhupada's instructions, Srila Guru Maharaj prepared to leave for Mathura at once. Srila Prabhupada actually asked the devotee to prepare puri and sabji for Maharaj, but Guru Maharaj said, "There's no need, I can survive without it." So then Srila Prabhupada handed him his own water and lemons, with a sugar, water, and lemon, and told him to prepare sugar water along the way. So after he had left for Mathura, which I know I certainly could never do anything like that, I would say yes, I need to have, and that's also good. I'm trying to remember as well, we're going to hear a pastime of how, we might hear a pastime of how he was just so, of how Srila Bhakti Vigam Bharati Goswami Maharaj was so surrendered to his Guru Maharaj's orders. One time they were on Parikram, and it was raining, and his Guru Maharaj was so intensely caring about the pilgrims. He really wanted all the Vaishnavas to have a good experience. And so in the middle of the night, he was experiencing so much anxiety, transcendental. And he ordered Srila Bhakti Vigam Bharati Goswami Maharaj to go out and check. And Maharaj knew that water wasn't getting in because they had dug trenches. They'd made it a very sturdy and stable situation. But he said for his Guru Maharaj, of course he would go and do it. So he went, he did it, and he came back, no questions. And then his Guru Maharaj was still anxious because he's like, well, what about the people up on the roof? And Maharaj was like, how can I do this? That's the women tent. And I remember if he was a brahmachari or sannyas at the time, but he understood that more important than his conception was following the orders of his Guru Maharaj. So he went up, and because of his Guru Maharaj's arrangement, another Prabhu was on the way down, and who immediately gave him answer and said to him, there's no water on the roof, everything's all clear. So he avoided having to go into the women's quarters and was able to go back to his Guru Maharaj and report. And what's important is he's doing this with full surrender. And they're able to do this with full surrender because they are pure devotees. Whereas I'm not, which is why I would require prasadam. On the way, if I was getting back and had to then go to Mathura, I'd say, well, actually I have my schedule. And it's nice then, at least what it helps me reflect is that they're at such an advanced stage of practice that it's a reminder of how Srila Raghunath Das Goswami had completely overcome the urges to eat, that he would just have a few chickpeas every day and a cup of buttermilk. Of course, we hear the pastime of how one time he got really sick and had to go to the doctor. This is Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And they found rice in his belly. And they said, where did you get rice? And it was because in his bhajan, the divine couple was feeding him rice. So, after Guru
They were
Maharaj,
feeding him rice.
I might have gotten that. Could you please correct me?
He just partook of a feast.
Okay.
It's a general safe way to say it.
So after Srila Bhakti Doyat Madhav Goswami Maharaj had left for Mathura, Srila Prabhupada told a brahmachari, Hayagriva Brahmachari, which was his brahmachari name, is full of volcanic energy. He is always ready to perform any kind of service with the utmost enthusiasm, and no matter what the situation is, he is always successful. And this is really nice, the way that he concludes it. So his Guru Maharaj, that is Srila Bhakti Doyat Madhav Goswami Maharaj, once told Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj, during Srila Prabhupada's physical presence in this world, he mercifully made sure I was constantly busy. When I would return to Srila Prabhupada after working hard to accomplish one task, he would immediately give me another task to perform. He did not have to ask anything about the first task, because he knew that I would not approach him unless that task had been completed. Although physically exhausted, I would experience unparalleled happiness to fulfill his order. I used to sometimes think that a time would come in my life when I'd be able to live by a fixed schedule, so that I could peacefully chant my fixed number of rounds, chant my Gayatri mantras at the appropriate times, and carefully read and study Vaishnava literature, just as some of my godbrothers did. But after Srila Prabhupada left this world, and I received plenty of time to do as I pleased, I lamented that I was no longer busily engaged in service in the way during my days with him.
This is Srila Bhakti Doyat Madhav Maharaj speaking.
Mm-hmm. It was only after he externally disappeared from the vision of this world that I understood such laborious service is my very life. After realizing this, I always tried to keep myself as busy as Srila Prabhupada kept me. Hearing this, I understood just how appropriate it was that Srila Prabhupada described my Guru Maharaj as having volcanic energy. I'm going to also try to not switch back and forth in the first and third person, but just stick to how he wrote it in first person. So let me skip ahead to another section. I'm going to just look at... Okay. So one thing Srila Gurudev spoke this morning on Gaudiya Rasamrita is that Srila Maharaj, that is Srila Bhakti Dwayat Madhav Goswami Maharaj, was incredibly kind to all of his god brothers, and he always gave them shelter, no matter what. And Srila Gurudev says he personally saw this. So this is a story about that. And so, there's even going to be another story as well, but I'll start with this one. So, after the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada, one of his disciples, Shripad Thakura Das Prabhu, began staying in Bagh Bazaar, Gaudiya Mutt's branch in Mumbai. When he began performing sickness pastimes in his old age, the Mutt authorities told him, "We are not in a position to take any further responsibility for your sickness." For you. Sri Thakur Das Prabhu thus left for Vrindavan, where he stayed in a rented room near Sri Gopishwara Mahadev. A devotee from Mumbai used to send a monthly donation to him. I too was in Vrindavan in those days, engaged in the service of constructing a branch of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Mutt. One day, a devotee informed me that Sri Thakur Das Prabhu fell down the stairs after experiencing dizziness. I immediately sent my godbrother, Sri Virabhadra Prabhu, who had admitted to the Sri Ramakrishna Mission Hospital. When news of this incident reached Guru Maharaj, he sent a letter to me in which he wrote, "Sri Thakur Das Prabhu has rendered immense service to Srila Prabhupada. As per the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, he preached together with Sri Bhakti Sarvasya Giri Maharaj. He used to play mridanga and perform very sweet kirtan. Ensure that he receives good care and does not experience any discomfort. Bring him to Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Mutt upon his discharge from the hospital. We will gladly assume the responsibility of serving him for the rest of his life." Following Guru Maharaj's instructions, I brought Sri Thakur Das Prabhu to our mutt after his discharge from the hospital, and he stayed with us for the rest of his life. This reminds me of our Srila Bhakti, of my Parmeshti Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, and his firm conviction, in this case with the land, of, Srila Prabhupada wanted this land to be used in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's service. Therefore, I must ensure that it is. Similarly, Srila Bhakti Dwayat Madhav Maharaj is ensuring that all those who gave anything to his Guru Maharaj were well cared for in their life. And I'm going to now go to one where, I'm actually going to go back a section to where he's like extremely tolerant. So there's an incident after the breakup of the Gaudiya Mutt where one of his godbrothers behaved in such a way that was, well, I guess I don't want to criticize. Okay, cool. Terrible. Basically, while Maharaj was away from the Mutt, I believe it was the Calcutta Mutt. No, it was in Mayapur. So, let me just read it. So, Guru Maharaj. Just want to skip ahead. So, Guru Maharaj always encouraged his disciples to render service to all such places established by and related to Srila Prabhupada. He would hand over all the donations he received during his preaching efforts to Sri Srimad Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Goswami Maharaj. But many unfavorable circumstances arose one after another. The situation reached a tipping point when his godbrother plotted a conspiracy against him, in which this godbrother very cunningly advised all the disciples of Guru Maharaj staying in Mayapur to pack their belongings and join their Gurudev at his preaching tour in Navaganja, thereby forcing them to leave Chaitanya Mutt forever. So he tricked them. He tricked all of the disciples of Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj, convinced them that, oh, your Guru Maharaj wants you to go with him on his preaching tour now. So they all packed their bags, and in so doing, he was just kicking them out of the mutt. So Maharaj, so even after coming to know about this event, Guru Maharaj never became distressed. Instead of becoming disheartened, he engaged much more enthusiastically in the service of Srila Prabhupada in order to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's innermost desires. Srila Prabhupada would say, in truth, the mutt exists in its principles and not in its bricks and mortar. I believe Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj said something similar in the letter that he wrote after he left Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Mutt. Inculcating this teaching deep within his heart, Guru Maharaj perfectly abided by the lesson of the following verses without complaint or criticism. Alabdeva vinashteva bhakshacha andana sadhane aviklava matir bhuntva harim eva diyasmaret. One who is devoted to Hari Bhakti should remain undisturbed and continue remembering Hari, even if he is unsuccessful in obtaining food and clothing, or if what he has obtained is lost. And then the famous verse from Lord Brahma, Tat te nukampam suksamikshamano punjana evatma kripam vipakam hridvag vapumbir viradhan namaste jivet yomukti pade subdayabak. One who, while always expecting the Lord's mercy, tolerates the results of his previous misdeeds and constantly offers respects to the Lord with his heart, speech, and body, is eligible to receive the inheritance of your lotus feet. Later, Guru Maharaj and a few of his godbrothers and disciples began staying in a rented house in Kolkata, and from there preached everywhere. So, I'll do one.
What? Didn't something happen later?
I think so, but I didn't read it yet. I didn't read it, and I thought it was that godbrother then had an issue and he let him stay in his mutt, despite everything. But I didn't read it last night, so I didn't want to speak to it. But do you recall?
And then he wrote a letter with such love to him, or about him, saying that, and Srila Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav, Bharati Maharaj was taking the dictation, and his pen dropped, and he was completely stunned at the affection that his Guru Maharaj was showing this person, even though he was acted terribly towards him. And all Guru Maharaj thought about him was that he served my Guru Maharaj, so I serve him. And so Srila Bharati Maharaj started crying when he was taking the dictation.
So I'll read one more from his life, and then I'll share one or two things from Affection and Reproach.
But you'll share it slowly.
I will share it slowly. So his godbrothers had...
So that should remain, remains should remain, and not shremain.
Shremain. So his godbrothers, who were all, as we've heard many times, extremely esteemed. They were brilliant. They were from the highest levels of society. For example, we'll hear about Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, who was a lawyer in an extremely respectable family, who then later became renounced. They all had such extremely high respect for Srila Bhakti Doyat Madhav Goswami Maharaj. So Srila Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigam Bharati Goswami Maharaj relates that there was a time where the disciples of Srila Prabhupada would gather at the mutt of Sri Srimad Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj in Koladweep after completing Sri Navadweep Dham Parikrama. When my Guru Maharaj met with his godbrothers at that time, he informed them about the opportunity to purchase the appearance place of Srila Prabhupada in Jagannath Puri, and he suggested they could purchase the land collectively. After discussing the matter themselves, a few of his godbrothers pledged whatever money they could, but the total amount was almost insignificant compared to the amount needed. Feeling perplexed about what to do, Guru Maharaj said, "We will have to think about another way to collect the funds." At that time, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vichar Yayavara Gosai Maharaj mentioned one verse from the Shringa Purana. Madhavo Madhavo Vachi, Madhavo Madhavo Hridi, Smaranti Madhava Sarve, Sarva Karyeshu Madhavam. Madhava is in one's words, Madhava is in one's heart. All saintly persons remember Madhava, the husband of Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, in all their endeavors. Even although the name Madhava in this verse replies to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Srila Yayavara Gosai Maharaj spoke this verse in reference to my most worshipful Guru Maharaj, Sri Srimad Bhakti Doit Madhav Gosai Maharaj, and thus implied Madhava Maharaj is in the words and hearts of his godbrothers. All his godbrothers remember Madhav Maharaj because he is able to collect any amount of Lakshmi money. All his godbrothers remember Madhav Maharaj in all their undertakings, and that is why anything can be accomplished when Madhav Maharaj is there. What is the need to rely on anyone else? And this actually reminds me of a pastime that happened earlier in his life where he was, I believe it was that he was, so to say, late to a meeting, and because he was paying everybody after Navadvip Dham Parikrama, and I believe it was Srila Bhakti Vicharya Yayavara Gosai Maharaj who chastised him, saying we should not be doing things beyond our means. And I believe it was Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Gosai Maharaj who replied and said, while for us these things may seem monumental, for him it's like the comparison is from an ant to an elephant trying to pick up a piece of sugarcane. For an ant, it may be impossible, but for the elephant, it's absolutely nothing. So, upon hearing this from his godbrothers, Guru Maharaj understood that they were blessing him by entrusting him this service to him alone, and so he offered his prostrated Dandava Pranam to all of them. Thus, he happily accepted the entire responsibility of requiring Srila Prabhupada's appearance place. And this was such a difficult task that even the devotees of ISKCON, a large and resourceful organization, had lost all hope of acquiring this place after meeting with innumerable hardships and complications. My Guru Maharaj, however, endured various physical and mental adversities in his service to acquiring the place, and after a long time of consistent effort, he came very close to succeeding in his service. In the meantime, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Yati Maharaj, a disciple of Sri Srimad Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Gosai Maharaj of Sri Chaitanya Mutt, submitted to the authorities of Dakshin Parshva Mutt, the owners of the site of Srila Prabhupada's appearance at that time, a lengthy collection of documents and letters asserting ours is the original and real Gaudiya Mutt. We alone reserve the right to bear the responsibility of managing the appearance place of Srila Prabhupada. The institution on whose behalf Sri Madhav Maharaj has submitted his application is not the original Mutt. So now they're submitting and they're protesting and saying this is a disciple of Sri Srimad Bhakti Vilas Tirtha Goswami Maharaj of Sri Chaitanya Mutt. So they additionally submitted to the High Court a petition requesting a stay order on the transfer of the rights. So Srila Maharaj is very close to obtaining this extremely difficult place after having so many adversities, and then one of his guru's grand disciples steps in and tries to say, no, this guy isn't legitimate, we deserve it, you need to give it to us. So in the beginning, before he made any independent endeavor to acquire the property, he had actually approached his godbrother disciple who is doing this with a proposal. It was due only to that god brother's refusal that Guru Maharaj began soliciting his god brothers for help, which later led him to accept sole responsibility for acquiring the property. At that point, after so much endeavor, it was unfeasible for him to relinquish his role in the service. Although he was upset, he was not in the slightest bit disheartened. He told me, in the absence of this obstacle, we might have made only gradual progress in our efforts. But now, in the face of adversity, we will proceed with greater determination and make all necessary efforts to achieve success. Which reminds me so much again of our Pradeshti Gurudev, who, after what seemed to be lost court cases, would say, no, we've actually won. We've gotten what we wanted from this. It may look like really difficult and it may look bad on the outside, but really this is what we wanted. Or in some way this is positive. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the transfer of the property ownership to Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math was completed one day before the High Court was to deliver the stay order. Wow. Jai. Okay. Do you mind is it okay if I read one thing from Affection and Reproach? So, I appreciate this one as well. So this was also compiled by Srila Bhakti Vigam Pariti Goswami Maharaj. It was, I don't remember if it was at the end of his manifest pastime or his Guru Maharaj's pastime where he got the order. Yeah, so it's at the order of Srila Bhakti Vigam Pariti Goswami Maharaj. I want to see if they give the exact reason.
How about if you make bullet points while you're studying?
Okay. So.
That's what TV people do. They have bullet points up, and then their whole line becomes remembered to them. The bullet points give the order and the main gist, and then the whole thing becomes manifest. And you can also jot down the page numbers.
So, what Maharaj says is that while translating these letters, which Sri Srimad Bhakti Dayat Madhav Goswami Maharaj wrote in Bengali to his godbrothers, disciples, and other esteemed personalities, their content repeatedly brought to mind the teaching that had been mentioned of Srila Bhakti Vigam Bharati Goswami Maharaj. Additionally, the editors began to grasp the principles and conduct by which Srila Maharaj lived and also recognized the great fortune of the recipients of these letters, some of which conveyed affection, others reproach, and others still a combination of the two. It is for this reason that this book has been entitled Affection and Reproach. And so it's the episode that inspired Srila Maharaj's instruction to translate and publish the letters herein in the form booklet are now described in brief. So, one day, one of our Srila Gurudev's disciples posed a question to Srila Maharaj. We repeatedly hear that even if a brahmachari or sannyasi, disciple of our Gurudev, had committed a grave transgression, Srila Gurudev would never ask that person to leave the mutt, despite any consequential outcry. Now, during his unmanifest pastimes, there are many devious individuals who resort to indolence, seek privileges, or try to enjoy Srila Gurudev's assets and facilities. Such persons simply waste their time. If a senior devotee or mutt in charge notices them commit a major transgression and reproaches them in a disciplinary tone, as a resident of the mutt, you should not act like this. Such behavior is unacceptable, and if it persists, we can no longer accommodate you in this mutt. The offender protests and immediately refers to Srila Gurudev's above-mentioned stance. With the objective of gratifying their enjoying propensity, they retort, the conduct of the present generation of Mutt authorities differs vastly from that of Srila Gurudev. We will surely oppose any authorities who defy us like this. So they asked Srila Maharaj, are we truly at fault for taking a stance of admonishment? We have heard that like our Srila Gurudev, Shri Bhakti Vallabh Tirtha Goswami Maharaj, who was a dear godbrother of Srila Bhakti Vigambarti Goswami Maharaj and the Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Mutt, would never chastise even the most reprobate individuals. Please tell us how we should conduct ourselves. And Srila Maharaj replied, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Vallabh Tirtha Goswami Maharaj are both bona fide Vaishnavas. I do not wish to comment on their conduct, as I am unaware of their implicit motive. Having said that, I can certainly assert that the practice of a guru admonishing his disciple has prevailed since ancient times. If any bona fide personality, impelled by some idiosyncrasy, differs in behavior from the established path, then such an act cannot be considered conventional and should not be emulated. For instance, upon being pleased with somebody, Sri Manikantan Ramdas would climb atop his shoulders, whereas Sri Abhiram Thakur would lash him with his whip. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babiji Maharaj used to chant Harinam while sitting in a public lavatory. The behavior of such venerable Vaishnavas is not imitatable. He continued, Guru Maharaj would always assert, a place where people reside together becomes chaotic in the absence of a bona fide Vaishnava. Oh, sorry, in the absence of the imposition of a framework of rules. Sorry, I played Jax really poorly there. Various disruptions are bound to manifest without the enforcement guide. It is therefore auspicious for everyone to remain subservient to any ordinances that pertain to them, and it is imperative to penalize those who transgress the law of the land. There is not a single gentleman anywhere who supports corruption or unscrupulous behavior. It is quite evident from Guru Maharaj's many letters that a person who is unable or unwilling to conduct his life according to the rules of the Mutt must not be granted residence there. And regarding the authorities of the Mutt, it should be known that meting out chastisement befits others only when the admonisher knows how to be affectionate. And so I've been speaking a lot, so rather than starting to go into the letters, I'll hope that this is giving you some inspiration to read the book. What inspires me is that Srila Bhakti Vigambarti Goswami Maharaj says that we must be able to take both affection and reproach. If we are only accepting praise from our guru, if we're only accepting praise from the like the pure Vaishnava, we are not getting their full mercy. We aren't here for them to just pat us on the back and say good job, but for them to, they are ever well wishers. What I get a lot from this book is that even when Maharaj is chastising them, he's not doing it to put them down. He's doing it because he sincerely just desires that they get out of Maya. In fact, it seems like that's all that he cares about. What he cares about is that we conditioned souls are able to really be brought out of our enjoying propensity and brought to the spiritual platform. Gaur Premanande.
Panchagovacharibhyascha kripasinubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo yo namo namaha. Well prepared, good.
Can I ask a brief question? I know you've been speaking a lot, but could you just briefly paraphrase and explain the part where Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj was mentioned?
His disciples were asking why. His disciples were asking.
Bhakti Dwight Maharaj?
No, Srila Gurudev's disciples were asking Srila Bhakti Vigambarti Goswami Maharaj about the policy of allowing anybody can stay in the Mutt. There's no, like, no matter what, no matter how poorly they behave, they're always given shelter in the Mutt. He was saying that after your Srila Gurudev left, there were people who were taking advantage of this, and they were taking advantage of the Mutt and the facilities to increase their propensity to enjoy. And then when they were reprimanded by the Mutt authorities, they would just say, oh, well, you're nothing like Srila Gurudev, and we're going to try to get you kicked out. We're going to try to
Which
get you in
Srila
trouble.
Gurudev? Srila Bhakti Dvaita Madhava Maharaj?
No, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj.
Okay. Because Gurudev let people stay in the mud.
Right. Do you want to know? Do you want to know
So
also?
what was the answer?
The answer was that we can't imitate the actions of pure Vaishnavas.
Good.
Like Miniketan Ram Das could climb on people's shoulders, Abhiram Thakur could whip people, and Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj could go chant in a public lavatory. We can't imitate that. We hear in Srimad Bhagavatam, Shivji can drink poison, but we can't try to imitate that. He said where there must be laws and rules and regulations to be followed. Yeah.
Good. Okay, thank you. Maybe she's waiting. Good presentation. So now I'm going to call on, I forgot your name. Don't tell me. I forgot. I forgot my name too. Huh? Yeah.
Sometimes I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember my body, what to speak of anybody else's. Okay, let me take a guess. Hold on. Ay, ay, ay. What is it? I forgot. Yeah, Gadagaja, yeah. Gadagaja. I'm going to call on Gadagaja Prabhu to speak about the glory or a hint of the glory of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Prem Priyojana Prabhu said that Gurudev pretended to forget his name for 6 months.
Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. First of all, I'm offering unlimited Dandavat pranams in the dust of the lotus feet of my worshipful Diksha Guru Devi. Om Vishnu Parasto to the Sat Shishimati Shamrani Didi. Similarly to my Param Guru Dev's Nichilila Pravishta Om Vishnu Parasto to the Sat Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Similarly to Nichilila Pravishta Om Vishnu Parasto to the Sat Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to the entire Rupanuga Guru Varga and all assembled devotees, Dandavats. Hare Krishna. So I'm going to try and glorify and touch something of the pastimes and character of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was doing his bhajan at Surya Kund near Govardhan, the very sacred place of Shri Radha and Krishna's midday pastimes. And there, actually, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that was the first time that he met Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, was at Surya Kund. And interesting note also is that Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj gave Babaji Vesh to a devotee named Srila Bhagavat Das. And this was also who gave Babaji Vesh to Srila Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So it's interesting, that's how the Babaji Vesh moved down to Srila Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And actually at Surya Kund, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was doing bhajan actually in the same area as his guru. And his name is Sri Madhusudan Das Babaji. And they were doing bhajan there. And Srila Gurudev explains that it's said that Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he blessed Bhaktivinoda Thakur with all his strength in bhajan and all the knowledge of the Shastra, which culminates in Prema Bhakti. And so he gave profuse blessings to Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, in his advanced age, he left and went to Navadvip, Sri Navadvip Dham. and he did bhajan and Kuladweep. And one of the major contributions, actually, of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is he requested Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada to create a Vaishnav Panchaka of all of the amazing holy days, Ekadasi, Janmashtami, and also the appearance day and disappearance days of the Vaishnavas. So big blessing and contribution that we're receiving from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati under the order of Babaji Maharaj. And a very famous pastime of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, which is actually eternally, glorified in his pranam mantra. Gauravir Bhava Bhumes Tvam Nirdesta Sajana Priha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Vaishnava
Shri Jagannath
Shri Jagannath Das
Daya.
Daya Namaha. So he was considered the topmost learned Vaishnava and Rasik Vaishnava of Gaura Mandal, Braj Mandal, and Chaitra Mandal. And this Gauravir Bhava Bhunes Tvam. Hare Krishna. So the pastime goes that Bhaktivinoda Thakur was doing his bhajan in Gojum, and in the middle of the night he saw a shining light coming from Mayapur across the river Saraswati. And then next day he saw the same light, but this time he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu dancing in Sankirtan. And he thought, what great mystery is this? I'm going to cross the river and go investigate. And so he went, and he found that in this site, no crops were growing except tulsi. And he asked the local farmers and villagers there, what is this phenomena that tulsi is growing of her own accord? And they said, yes, she grows here, and we can't grow anything else. We've tried to grow crops, and only tulsi will grow. And so because of this vision he had, he thought, I think that this might be the appearance place of Sri Mahaprabhu. And so he did investigation in the different shastras, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, also Bhakti Ratnakar, and also looked at some old government maps. But he wasn't completely resolved until he requested Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj to come to the site with him. And Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was so advanced in age, almost 140 years old at this time. He was so old that his eyes would hang over, the skin of his eyelids would hang over his eyes, and he would have to lift them up to look at someone. And his disciples carried him around on a basket on their head.
Who carried him?
His disciple, I don't know the particular.
Biharidas?
Biharidas. Yeah, right. So on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's request, Jagannath Das Babaji was carried by Biharidas to the place that Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur suspected was the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. And when Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj got there, even though he was so advanced, he jumped out of his basket and he started dancing in ecstasy, in complete joy. And Biharidas asked him, Maharaj, what is going on? He says, can't you see Mahaprabhu is doing kirtan in this place? And so he showed that two things. Actually, Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj mentions this, that he shows that one, this was indeed the birthplace of Mahaprabhu, as suspected by Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And number two, that Mahaprabhu's pastimes are eternally going on in Navadvip Dham, and that they can only be seen in the heart of a true Dhamvasi. And so glorious this pastime of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. And then another really, there's some couple amazing interactions with his disciples at his Bhajan Kutir. One of them is that some of his disciples approached Bhaktivinoda Thakur and made some complaints that Babaji Maharaj, he's not instructing us on Astakaliya Bhajan, and he's telling us to just grow vegetables.
What, can you give some English?
Yeah.
Like what's Astakaliya Bhajan?
Astakaliya Bhajan means doing chanting and remembrance of the daily activities and pastimes of Radha Krishna and their eternal Leela. doing remembrance and doing bhajan like that. And Jagannath Das Goswami Maharaj was instructing them rather on these deep secrets of bhajan, internal things, to rather perform external services to Vaishnava and the deity, like growing vegetables and tulsi and all these things. And so they went to Bhaktivinoda Thakur and made a complaint that he's not instructing me on these things. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually said, it's better to grow vegetables and tulsi for the service of the deity and the Vaishnavas than inattentively pull beads, because by rendering these services, actually one's anarthas and offenses, they become cleansed and eradicated. Whereas if one is prematurely doing this kind of bhajan and remembrance, actually it will increase their unwanted things. And so he says, actually best you should just follow the orders of Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. And then another really special instance is that Babaji Maharaj would take prasad, but there was a dog nearby who had 6 or 7 puppies. And he would wait until the puppies would come and take the prasad off of his plate before he would honor. And Bihari Das, his disciple, saw this one time and he tried to shoo the puppies away. That's Maharaj's plate, don't take. And Maharaj chastised him and said, you're making offense to the Damvasis. And so he had very transcendental attachment and appreciation for the animals that were Damvasis. And there's another.
What are Damvasis?
Damvasi means a personality who's taking residence in the holy Dham. Another instance, actually, where he was collecting his disciples were collecting some funds. And this is kind of a similar consciousness or mode of his appreciation for these Vasis. And they asked, we want to use these funds that we've collected in the service of the Vaishnavas for the benefit of those who we've collected from. And he said, actually better to use these funds to purchase some food to feed the cows, because they're definitely Damvasis. Whereas if you feed some Vaishnava who externally is garbed and has mala and beads, but they're actually in secretly engaging in illicit activity, then that person, no one will get benefit. So he had great faith in the Damvasis. And so these are some glories and instances of Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. And I'll conclude there.
Good, excellent. Do you know this story where Bihari wanted to go to this kirtan? There was a group of kirtaniyas, and you know that story?
I heard that was the one that I didn't mention, but I didn't know it so well, so I didn't.
So he wanted to go to this kirtan, and Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj said, aren't you scared? What should I be scared for? It's just kirtan. Okay, you can go to the kirtan, but don't take any prasadam. Oh, you can bring me the prasadam. So he brought him the prasadam, and he opened it up and said to Bihari, can't you see the nails and hair in the prasadam? So he saw, but then he still wanted to keep going for kirtan. So he said, but you're still not scared? So he went, and then the kirtaniyas finally said to him, you know, we committed some grave offense, and so we became ghosts. We're all ghosts. And so we want to redeem ourselves and get back our ability to chant and be humans again. So can you give this donation to your Guru Maharaj? And then if he uses it, then he'll give us blessings. And so he gave him the donation. And that was another time when Babaji Maharaj said, yes, I'll take the money and we'll get rasagullas for the cows of the Dham. So that was a nice one too. There's also a lot more pastimes of him in Sri Chaitanya and his associates. If you like, you can speak tonight. Tonight we're going to continue. Vasanti will be here and she'll be speaking about Srila Bhakti Dwait Madhav Maharaj. So if you like to speak more about Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, it wasn't only that one time when he was 140, he could see well, but it just his eyes were covered by his lids. It wasn't that one time when he jumped up and danced. Whenever he went to a kirtan party, like here, the Thakur gave the following account of this event in their second meeting. In his Sajan Toshini magazine, he wrote this, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. After spending the whole night in the Ekadasi vigil, people from the entire village gathered together at 8 in the morning to go on Nagar Sankirtan through the streets. With the Venerable Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj at the head of the group, they made their way to Prapan Ashram. It is impossible to describe Babaji Maharaj's ecstatic transformations during this kirtan. Though he is over 100 years old, he dances like a lion, sometimes singing out the couplet. I don't know what that means, but he was like a wild person. And lions roar, so he was singing so loud. So it really doesn't matter the bodily condition. It's the purity that gives one the power. So that was another one, but there are many more that if you want to share tonight.
Sounds great.
Okay, and that'll start at 6:30 tonight again. And as you could see from Haridas Prabhu's frustration, he wanted to do so much more, but time ran out this morning. So I'll just briefly talk about Rasikananda Prabhu. He's a disciple of Shamananda Prabhu. Shamananda Prabhu, that was very good, thank you. Shamananda Prabhu is a disciple of I forgot his name, but he is in Krishna Lila, he's Subal Saka. And so then he became one of the associates of Nityananda Prabhu. And his disciple is Shamananda Prabhu. So in the beginning, Shamananda was kind of being directed towards Sakya Bhav, which was not his constitutional position. So when his guru, Hriday Chaitanya Das, when he saw this, because the pure devotee can understand what is the inherent relationship of the disciple with Krishna, he understood that he's constitutionally a manjari. So he sent him to Vrindavan to be trained under Vaishnavas led by Srila Jiva Goswami. And he heard Ujjvala Nilamani, Bhagavatam, and so many books from Srila Jiva Goswami and got trained in Rupanuga Bhajan. So therefore, even though Rasikananda was a disciple of Shamananda, we can understand that Rasikananda is also in Madhuras because Hriday Chaitanya sent him to Jiva Goswami. And Rasikananda Prabhu was, he was in the Kayastha clan or dynasty, which is like landowners, landholders, like Ramananda Rai. And he was looking for a guru. Later on, he accepted Shamananda Prabhu as his guru, which he got a lot of flack for because Shamananda was not a Brahmin by birth. And so one should take a guru who's of a higher caste than you, and especially Brahmins. But he didn't care. He was in great anxiety to find a guru, which was the price. Srila Bhakti Vallabha Tirtha Maharaj, who wrote this book and quoted so many Shastric references, he explains that the real qualification for getting a bona fide guru is to sincerely pray, which he did. And then he received a dream that, don't worry, don't be in anxiety anymore. Your guru is coming very soon and revealing himself. So he became happy. And then at night, he got another dream from Shamananda Prabhu, who said, your anxiety is over. You'll meet me the next day. And so the next day he was eagerly looking for his guru. And then a very tall, effulgent figure, chanting in ecstasy, approached him. And so he immediately fell down at his feet. And he fully followed all the instruction of his Gurudev. And because of that, as you know the verse we sing daily, Yashak Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado, Yashak Prasadan Nagati Kutopi. If one pleases the spiritual master, then the spiritual master is pleased to give him all of his powers. So Rasikananda Prabhu got all the powers of Shamananda. Spiritual powers, mystical powers, all kinds. And he became so qualified that he was able to convert innumerable atheists, Muslims, just very low-class people. And then there was one Muslim who was very, and even kings, from the top to the bottom. So there was one very wicked Muslim who thought the only way to silence this person who's getting so popular now is to kill him. So he sent a wild elephant to go charge him. So generally, the pure devotee will not show his mystic opulence. Like one time, I forget who it was, maybe Sharanga Maharaj, there was this yogi who wanted to show off to him, and so he came to him riding on a lion. So then this pure devotee came to greet him riding on a wall that actually moved. So usually a pure devotee doesn't show his opulences, but sometimes they're forced to. So in this case, he was forced to, he felt forced to, and he said some mantra, and the elephant bowed down and surrendered to him and became very docile and became his disciple and became a devotee. So then that wicked Muslim also surrendered to him, seeing that he's really a great soul. Then once he was traveling, this is going towards his disappearance time. Once he was traveling a long distance with his Sankirtan party of 7 disciples. And they came to Ramuna, and they went to the Kirchora Gopinath temple. You know, that's the temple where Kir, sweet rice, Chor, stealing, where Kirchora Gopinath stole the sweet rice for Madhavendra Puri. So that was the deity. So that they were doing kirtan in the courtyard of Kirchora Gopinath in Ramuna, which is near Jagannath Puri. And all of a sudden, he merged into the deity. Isn't that incredible? And then his disciples left their bodies in the same spot. And so his Samadhi Mandir and his 7 disciples' samadhis are still present now and being worshipped at the in Ramuna at that temple. And the people there, they hold a 12-day festival in honor of his disappearance. So Rasikananda Das Goswami ki jai ho. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Doit Madhav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Nitai Gaura Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Gaura Hare Bo, Tai Gaura Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Bo. Go Premanandi Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And I just want to mention that, I have this few papers here, which Haridas was kindly re-Xeroxed in very black ink. So Gurudev was saying that it takes about an hour, but he's advising his followers to take Brajmandal Parikrama, Navadvip Parikrama, and Jagannath Puri Parikrama just by voice and by mind every day. He said it takes about an hour, but you'll get a lot of mercy. So for anybody who wants this, I have a few copies up in my room. So if you come in my room, I'll give you it and show you. Like there's some associates, Gurudev said to also say, pray to Mother Yasoda, Yasoda Maya ki jai, Rohini Maya ki jai, Nanda Baba ki jai, and the coward friends, Subal, Saka, Sridham, Dham, Vasudham, Stoka Krishna, Balaram, Madhumangal, Mandali Bhadra, all the associates, taking shelter of them, bowing down to them in your mind. And Ki Jai means victory to you, but that's not like the real meaning. The real meaning is, I pray that you'll be victorious over my senses, my lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, and envy, and take me over. Just like if one country defeats another country, it takes everything. It just loots the whole place. So I want you to take all of these nonsense things from me. And then Gokula Mahavan Ki Jai, then all the places there, like the killing of Putana, Brahmanda Ghat, Ki Jai, to all the places. And then Kamyavan and Vrindavan, Shirghat, the place where the gopis sang Gopi Geet, that tree. There's this little temple, and then you climb up these rickety stairs, and at the top there's part of the tree that the gopis were singing underneath. And Sakagiri Parvat in Kamyavan, where the place of Lalita. So, you get to associate with everybody. So if anybody wants that, I have it upstairs. And I've marked the place with this paper for you for tonight. This? That's why I put the paper in it. Yeah. Again, it's just from here. All right. PDF of this book? No, because I just made it up. I just typed it myself based on what Gurudev was saying.
I have the PDF of
Oh, you do? Oh, what they printed from, you mean? It's not a PDF. I mean, there is a online, not online, but a computer copy. That's what you mean, if you need it in your computer. I see, okay. Digital, yeah. All right, and like Nanda Bhavan, Dadi Mantan style, so many. Panchakopatribhyascha kripasindubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gaur Premanandi.
Is that the book that has all of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates' forms listed in Krishna Lila?
A lot of times he does that.
But is it? I saw a book about that size that had it in like the inside cover, just one by one by one.
No,
Not this one.
it's not on the inside cover, but when you get to the person, a lot of times, or most of the time, Srila Bhakti Vallabh Chaitanya Maharaj will say who he is in Krishna Lila. Yeah.
Bhakti Bala Tirtha Maharaj.
The other one too? Oh, this one.
Puri Maharaj had a book like that, maybe even a little bigger. Do you have that?
A book like this with all the associates?
And it had on the inside cover all of Gaura's associates and just with a dash, and it said there.
No, I don't. I don't have that. That's interesting.
I'll have to ask
If you ever get that, can you?
Jagadish Prabhu had that.
Oh,
And he showed me. I think it was before they made the iPhone, so I didn't really have a camera,
oh wow.
so I didn't take a picture of it.
I'll ask him.
He has a really good library.
Uh-huh.
Wherever he goes, he's got it in his boxes. People are trying to steal it from him.
Oh, yeah, I'll message him and ask. Good Prabhu, what's your plan for today?